Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Four Ps podcast. I started the Four Ps, and literally I started it right during a class when I was teaching inmates at a prison in Indiana. And if you read the book, The Four Ps of You, you know exactly how it starts. I ask them a question, what are you going to do, when you get out of prison? And then I had the answers that I got and what have you. Now, with that being said, one of the things that and I don't want to say enjoy doing, but one of the things I love doing is going into prisons and teaching inmates and talking to inmates and giving them a plan when they get out. A lot of those inmates are still friends of mine. And I still mentor them all the time. And I talk about Ryan Mader. His wife has been on the program before. Ryan, we have to get Ryan on the program at some point. We just have to get him on the program. And he was in the book Stories of Transgression and Recovery. He introduced me to a friend of his that he met while in prison. His name is Peter Speziale. And Peter is a very, very interesting man. And when we started talking, I was like, hey, I got another Stories of book coming out called Stories of Miraculous Transformation. Would love for you to be a part of this book. He's going to talk to you a little bit about what he does and how he does it and why he does it. But if you listen to his transformation, you are going to be stunned. You're going to be amazed at what he does. And like I said, he is in the book Stories of Miraculous Transformation. He does talk about it. We also have something going on with Stories of Miraculous Transformation and him, and you'll know a little bit more about it during the interview. But again, when we come back, we're going to talk to Peter Speziale from Lafayette, Indiana, home of the Boilermakers. For those who understand colleges, Purdue, that's where it is. I think it's in West Lafayette. Matter of fact, I know it's in West Lafayette. So when we come back, we'll talk to Peter, and we'll be right back right after this.
I bought this book because I quit my job on a Tuesday and didn't tell anyone for 3 weeks. Purpose, passion, planning, persistence. I thought it'd be corny. Page 40 made me put it down and just sit there. I started writing down what I actually wanted, not goals, values. If you've been drifting, read the 4 Ps of You. It's the nudge.
Welcome back to the 4 Ps podcast. Many, many times I have guests that literally changed my life, changed my perspective of a lot of things. And today, there's no exception. We have a man by the name of Peter Speziale. He is out of Indiana. We've had a lot of guests from Indiana because I used to live there for a little while, and still have a lot of people who have really changed my life and done a lot of good things. And Peter, even though my whole entire time in Indiana, never met him once. But I will say this, he has totally provided a positive influence on my life. He's a good man. And you're going to hear Peter's story. Peter, welcome to the program. How are you doing, man?
Thank you. I'm very flattered for that intro.
Hey, not a problem. The funny thing, I don't want to tell the audience this, everybody knows I record my interviews before they go out. This interview won't be out for a couple of days. But one thing I do want to say, this man is like dedicated. He's like, all right, listen, let's hurry up and get this done. I got to go to work. And so I appreciate this. Peter, tell me a little bit about, tell the audience, and I don't want to say what makes you special because you're a humble man, but tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I come from a wonderful family out of Indianapolis and grew up as wholesome as you could imagine. But the neighborhood that I grew up in wasn't so wholesome. And I ended up spending more time around them than I did in the household. And it completely influenced who I thought I was supposed to be. It led me down a lifelong journey of addiction and crime. I did make it to college. I played baseball pretty well, but I was doing the same things while I was there. And one thing after another, I went through a lot of lockups. I was indicted by the FBI in 2012 for my role in a narcotics distribution ring, and then followed that up with state prison for the same thing a few years after that, which it was there that I was just taught to meditate just a couple of minutes twice a day, and it just changed me in ways that I never saw coming. Within a couple of weeks of doing it, my perspectives on everything from my relationship with women to the world that I saw around me, from victimizing pretty much everyone I met, and now I wanted to help people. And
Mhm.
so that led me, once I was released, to creating my nonprofit foundation to help others find that path, as well as teaching meditation and healing techniques at the work release here in Lafayette for the past 3 years. And when I look back at life, it is just a very strange journey, but it's been wonderful.
I want to go back just a little bit. Um, you said you were brought up in a wholesome household. There are a lot of people out here right now, and I know there are a lot of parents that listen to this podcast, and they're saying, well, if I do this and I put my kids in private school, and if I make sure we live in a great neighborhood and we're in the suburbs and we're not here, we're doing this, my kid is going to be awesome. Clearly, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're not the only one that's gone through this. So clearly, that is not, I don't want to say that's not the truth, but it's not always a definite. What led you to the streets influenced you more than the home? How can you explain why that was?
It might sound crazy, but rap music.
Hmm.
Rap music literally took me over, and that's what I idolized, to be what I was hearing in the music. And it was the same for the group of friends that I was running around. And you're right, a lot of parents do have that idea. And a lot of times it does work the way they hope it does. Um, but the most important thing that I can say is watch who your children choose as friends, because it's the people they surround themselves with that are going to influence the type of person they become.
You know, it's funny. I was talking, and I don't know how old you are, and I'm
45.
I'm going 45. Okay, so it's funny that you bring that up. When I was growing up, I grew up. I'm 55, so I grew up right when rap was starting to become mainstream. Okay. So when I was a young kid, I remember a group, and I don't know if I'm going to, gosh, I sound old. I remember the Hill Gang. Do you ever hear of
Yep.
that? Ever heard of the Sugar Hill
Yeah.
Gang?
Yep.
Okay. So now the Sugar Hill Gang, they rapped about just fun shit. I mean, we're going to go to a
Yeah.
party, and, if your girl starts acting up, then you take a friend. I mean, that stuff was funny. They eat chicken. I mean, there's one rap, it's called Rapper's Delight, and he's talking
Yeah.
about going to a friend's house and eating nasty food. I thought that was the greatest rap song of all time. And then as I got older and went into high school, it became education. So rap was about stay off the streets, you
Yeah.
know? Stop. I mean, it was about, I mean, you had rappers, and again, I'm showing my age. A lot of people don't know what I'm talking about, and that's okay. But you had rappers out there like MC Hammer. MC Hammer wasn't a gangster rapper. All right.
Nope.
No way was he a gangster rapper. You had Run DMC. Again, that wasn't about gangster. You had KRS-One, who was literally educating you about Black history. And then you had Chubb Rock. Chubb Rock, I still dance the song, Treat Him Right. I mean, he has a ton of songs, but that song is still the jam. If it pops on, my non-dancing ass will be jamming right now. Okay. But um it's I told my wife, I said something happened with rap music where it really started, instead of it being that positive influence, it just switched on everybody. And it became a very negative vehicle.
And interestingly enough, that shift happened around the same time that prison systems went from state owned and operated to privately owned for profit business.
I am going to sit here and tell you right now, Peter, that I do not want to get into that
No,
conversation
no,
on
we
this
don't have to get
podcast.
into it. I was just stating an
But
interesting
no,
fact.
no, you are stating an interesting fact. That is a fact. I just didn't want to. I mean, seriously, what you are saying right now is something that I did talk to a lot of people about. It's funny how there was a shift when there became when it became when crime became profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Our music, a
Very good way to
lot of
put it.
things started to change when crime became profitable. And I'm not talking profitable for the criminal. It was
Right.
profitable for the system, and that's the
Yep.
thing. So I'm glad you brought that up. And you know what? Even though I'm not bringing that up in this podcast, I want you guys to pay attention. If you're listening to this, please, at least in the United States, pay attention because there's something to what Peter just said. There really is. And we need to watch that. Not only I know that Peter just dropped some great knowledge about pay attention to who your kids are hanging out with, but also pay attention to what your kids are being fed. And I'm not talking about, I mean, being fed on their iPads, being fed on their phones, being fed on TV, being fed on YouTube, being fed anywhere. Watch it, and that is very important. So you said in the same thing where you were fed by a negative influence in music, you then turned and now you're fed by a positive influence in meditation.
Yes. And
Okay.
for me, I sold narcotics for 25 years. And usually after spending 10, 20 minutes with a customer, I knew exactly why they were an addict because of trauma or abuse or just things they'd been through that they openly talked about. For me, I had every opportunity in life. Like I said, my family, there was no trauma and things like that. I had no idea why I kept going back to addiction. And then through meditation, after a couple of months, I became aware of where my addiction came from. And it came from the fact that my authentic, true self was sensitive and caring and wanted to help people. And I was living this life as the complete opposite of that. And when
Mm,
you have that schism within inside yourself, you can't be two separate beings and function normally. So my addiction was me trying to numb out my authentic self to be the person that I thought I wanted to be. And
wow.
once I was aware of that and started to live as my authentic self, the addiction, I don't fight addiction. I'm coming up on 8 years sober and I won't even put
Congratulations.
non-organic food in my body now. So there's no way that I could possibly go back to drugs. So that kind of led to one of the things we're trying to do with the foundation is to not just help people get sober and build clean time and embrace recovery, but to actually heal from their causes of their addiction so that it no longer has to be a daily battle.
Okay. And I appreciate everything you just said. And I love what you said about how, you were living a life that was completely opposite to your own nature. And it went through meditation and self-reflection to get to that point. You found out who you really were through meditation, and you allowed that person to come in, and I appreciate that. You also said something that you are a caring and helpful person. You are the founder of a non-for-profit called Stephanie's Courage.
Yes.
Okay. We did talk a little bit about Stephanie's Courage when you and I first met. Um, Tell the audience, why is it called Stephanie's Courage?
So it's named after a late friend of mine, Stephanie Schreiner, and she was somebody I've known for many, many, many years through what I call my past life or the life of addiction. And she had been through incredible amounts of trauma. She was the one to find her mother and her mother's boyfriend dead from murder suicide, things of that nature, where I couldn't blame her for being an addict. And when I came home from prison this last time in 2021, we reconnected and she was excited to tell me that she was sober and had been for some time, and not just sober, but embracing all of recovery and complete transformation of the self. And I was super excited and telling her how happy I was. And then she said, "Don't be too happy. I was diagnosed with terminal cancer." And as an addict, your mind makes excuses over any little negative to get high. It'll make excuses over something positive as a way to celebrate it. And in the face of terminal illness, she chose to remain clean and was even having someone else administer her pain medication so that she wouldn't abuse it. And to me, that was just absolutely amazing. And so I offered her to name the foundation after her to create a legacy in the honor of the courage that she had facing that illness.
Wow. That is a powerful story in itself because, again, like you said, you can come up with any excuse.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not, and I'm going to bring up a little story about me, and I was never addicted to drugs like that. But I smoked. I smoked cigarettes like all the time, and I brought up one time, if I ever get diagnosed with cancer, I guess I'll start smoking again. Why not? I no, and you're laughing because of that story, Peter. I will never do that.
Yeah.
I won't because I was like, what the hell? Why not? Never, ever again. She is a courageous individual. She was a courageous individual. And it's funny how her name and her dear friend Peter, um, you're helping tons of people. Tell us
Yeah.
what Stephanie's Courage does. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right now, what we've been doing is so typically when somebody comes home from jail or prison, they start over with absolutely nothing, no clothing, no anything, because so-called friends tend to remove it all and keep it. And so a lot of these people are coming home homeless and without anything to their name. So we've been making sure that when they come home, they have at least a small wardrobe of clothing. We provide them steel-toed boots for work if they need them. And I've been, as I mentioned, teaching meditation and healing every Sunday at the work release. And then when they transition to house arrest, they have to pay first month's rent and deposit. And then house arrest itself, when I was on it, I think I was paying around $600 to $700 a month. So they
Mm.
typically go broke moving into their place. So we have them make a list of an order of importance of the things that they need. And it can be anything from cleaning supplies to a shower curtain to a TV or a couch. And we supply that for them because most of them are typically new to recovery and sobriety. So they are very new to dealing with emotions. And if we can alleviate the stress out of these transitions, then it gives them a much higher rate of success for being able to handle their emotions and not have to worry about the little things while they're handling the big thing of staying sober.
Yes, and that is a very large thing. And the meditation, have you noticed, and I don't want you don't have to come up with statistics and definitely don't give any names, but is it really working with a lot of people going through?
If they truly adopt it, and I've had a number of them truly adopt it, and I've had two different instances now where I've had phone calls to tell me that not only did they get the job they wanted, but they bought a car and got their own place. But the calls that mean the most are the two that I received to let me know that they have custody back of their children. And to
Yeah.
me, a lot of these people come from generational trauma, generational addiction. And for somebody to be the one to break a generational curse and completely reroot the family tree into better soil it makes everything I do is so worth it. One of the phone calls that came in, I was on the phone with my son, and I meant to just click over, but I accidentally patched my son into the call. And he got to hear this gentleman tell me how grateful he was of how we've helped him along the way and how I've been there for him when he needed somebody to talk to. And then he told me that he got his children back, and it made me cry. Like it's a
Absolutely.
wonderful, wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Peter, you are changing lives, and you are doing exactly what you were destined to do. And that is probably why, you were such a struggle because You were
I
doing
had to.
exactly what you weren't doing
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do. And
Yeah.
now you know exactly what you're supposed to do. I want to tell, in addition to this, because I'm really trying to, because like I said, he told me, let's hurry up and get this done because I got to go to work. So I do want to tell you this right now. If you look behind me, you'll see a book. It's called Stories of Miraculous Transformation. Peter is a part of that book. And when you read his story, when you read who he is, yes, this podcast is 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 a good summary of what he is. But this man is so much more. All the way to the point to where I have two stories of books. One is stories of miraculous transformation, and the other one is stories of transgression and recovery. Now, he is not in transgression and recovery, and I know I've talked about transgression and recovery before. One of his friends, the person I met him through, Ryan Nader, is definitely a part of stories of transgression and recovery. If you buy that book on there's a link that we have that goes directly to Peter's site. I want to take it a step further today. I'm going to take it a step further today. If you buy the book, either Stories of Transgression and Recovery or stories that he's in, Stories of Miraculous Transformation, which he is a miraculous transformation. He's a miraculous fellow, to be honest with you. But if you buy that book off of his site, $3 goes to his institution.
Very much
Now,
appreciated.
this you're welcome. I'm going to take it another step further. For the next 30 days from the day that this is sent, anywhere in the world, I don't care where it is. If you buy this book on Amazon, if you buy this book at Barnes and Noble, if you buy this book at Booktopia, if you buy the Booktopia is in Australia, if you buy this book at Waterston, which is in England, if you buy it from Indigo Books, that's in Canada, I don't care where you buy it. You could buy it bookstore in Netherlands. I don't give a shit where you buy this book. $1 worldwide from every single book sold from either one, Stories of Transgression Recovery or Stories of Miraculous Recovery, will go to Stephanie's Courage. And please support this. We have people, and I'm going to say this right now. I'll be the first one to tell you, I am very much against crime. I'm anti-crime. I lost my daughter to a murder, and I am very much against crime. If you are a criminal, you deserve to be put away, and that's all there is to it. However, I'm going to say this: you may go in a criminal. A lot of people come out not criminals. They come out people who want a second chance. And that's what Peter's here to do. And I'm going to tell you, if you are out there and if you are an inmate or if you are a recovering addict, if you are anything like that and you need help, I want to help you. I really want to help you get back on your feet and give you that courage, the same courage as Stephanie had. And that's a lot of courage. That is
Yes.
somebody who never got, knowing that your life is over and still not giving up. I've never seen, that is courage personified. There's no other way to say it. That is his absolute courage. And so
Yep.
I want to make sure that we help Peter keep that mission going. And like I said, for the next 30 days, you buy the book. Like I said, let me send him a couple dollars. Please let me do that.
Ah,
And again, that's what we're doing. Peter, thank you for being a friend. That doesn't sound right. That now I see. Now I want to watch the Golden Girls or some shit like that. Thank you for being on the program. I am glad you're my friend. You're definitely a good friend of mine. Look forward to seeing you. I will tell you this. Very, very soon in Lafayette, there will be a book signing with Peter sitting there signing his book, Miraculous Transformation. He will be up there signing books. And again, please, go support him because it's for a good cause. It really is for a good cause. We will be right back right after this. Thank you so much.
What if your hardest moments weren't the end, but the beginning? From pain to purpose, from broken to becoming. Stories of miraculous transformation. Real people, real journeys, real change. Your story isn't over. Get your copy today.
Welcome back to this final segment of the 4Ps podcast. I've been doing this for almost 3 years and I still can't remember this edition, segment, whatever the hell it is. But like I said, he is in this book right here. and this is stories of miraculous transformation. Peter has a great story. When you read it, you know what? His story needs to stand out on its own, to be honest with you. It is a very strong story. He's a very strong man. You can get stories of miraculous transformation wherever books are sold. Don't forget the promotion that we have going on. I want you to buy the book. And again, there's a special link that's going to be in the podcast notes. Get it. Speaking about podcast notes, make sure you get online, subscribe to the podcast. Please, you know what, put a review. Hey, I love this podcast because it gives me some inspiration and things like that. Do things like that. Say I love the podcast because he's always got new pictures in the back. Speaking about the new pictures, I do have some new pictures. You got to see them. It's just awesome. All right, so you probably can't see it from a distance, but the top is Mount Wellington in Hobart. um, um, and that is I was going to say Hobart, Indiana. There really is a Hobart, Indiana, by the way, but this is Hobart, Tasmania. Then in the middle, I took a picture of got a great picture of the Harbor Bridge in Sydney, Australia during a storm. So it's just awesome. You can't see all the full color and stuff like that. It's too. I mean, I got to probably get a stronger camera or whatever. And then on the bottom, it is a picture of the sunrise in Hobart from my hotel room. Is actually a great picture there. On the other side, all right, I put some new pictures up. I got my hometown of Buffalo, New York. I took that from the Canadian side. I took that from Fort Erie, Ontario. And if you go stand in Fort Erie, there's like a couple of like waterfront parts or like river walks and stuff like that you can do. Um, and beautiful parks on in Fort Erie. Fort Erie, Ontario is the prettiest small town you can ever go to in your life. It's awesome. Those are some really great people there, and it is just it's great. They had some beaches there. They used to have a beach there called Waverly, and they used to have a bar there. I'm going to tell the story now because statute of limitations are over. But at like 17 years old, me and my buddies used to go to Waverly Beach and go to the bar and get a beer and sit back and chill at the beach. No one ever carded us. I used to love that back in the day. The drinking age in Canada is 19, whatever, you know. Like I said, I'm 55 years old, you know. It's over now. We could talk about it. But yeah, so that is a picture that I took. And then on the bottom is Sydney, Australia. I took that from a ferry as we're on the ferry. And then on the very bottom, I took that from an airplane when I was flying to Australia recently, and that is Los Angeles, California. And so there you go. Those pictures will change out from time to time wherever I go to places and things like that. So, like I said, right now I have Buffalo. I'll always have a picture of Buffalo up there. I'm a Buffalonian. We're going to talk about Buffalo in a second. I have Buffalo, I have Hobart, I have Sydney, I have Toronto, I have Chicago, I have Los Angeles. So there you go. So those are the cities I have right now on the board. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, I'm wearing a Buffalo Sabre shirt. You know, last night, man, they couldn't do it. I was saying, go Sabres, go Sabres, go Sabres. And they went to game 7, which is cool in itself. Then they went into overtime, which is cool again. But I'm going to tell you, Buffalo, sports, and overtime, all of which suck. I don't remember ever watching an overtime game where it meant something one time. And that was years ago. Derek Plant scored the game-winning goal in a game 7 in overtime to win a game 7. Last night was a game 7 in overtime, and Derek Plant wasn't playing, so we lost. That's what happened. We lost to another good team. I will tell you right now, the Montreal Canadiens played their heart out. And I say we like I was on the ice, but the Sabres outplayed them um, throughout the entire game. I mean, the ice was totally tilted, but their goaltender, I think his name is Dobis. He was just wow. If he plays like that for the rest, I feel sorry for all the other 3 teams that are in the league or in the playoffs still because they're not going to win. He was just outstanding. Totally appreciated the game. And one thing I do want to say is I appreciate the fight in Buffalo. The Sabres played a great, just think about it, December 9th of 2025, they were the worst team in the Eastern Conference. And they went on and they were the second seed team in the Eastern Conference. So they really changed and did some good things. So good luck to them. Congratulations. Hopefully, this is the beginning of very, very good things to come in the city of Buffalo. You know, I back in the early '90s, we were spoiled because the Sabres and the Bills used to consistently go to the playoffs. Then there was a point where it was just the Sabres going to the playoffs. And then it was just nobody going to the playoffs. And then it was just the Bills going to the playoffs. This is the first year in a long time. I'm saying a super long time, probably more than 25 years, that the Bills and the Sabres both were in the playoffs at the same time. So I do appreciate that. It's nice to watch some playoff football, nice to watch playoff hockey. The greatest thing about all the stuff that happened, you guys know I'm a big CFL fan, and now I can concentrate on watching the CFL. Do I have a favorite team in the CFL? Maybe. I maybe do. I go to Argo games when I can. So there you go. I go to Tiger Cat games when I can. I love the Saskatchewan Roughriders because their fans are awesome. So there you go. I don't have a favorite team. I just know that basically every year I do have some skin in the game when it comes to the Grey Cup. So that starts. Matter of fact, they had a preseason game just yesterday on Victoria Day in Canada, and I did not watch it because I was busy watching my Buffalo Sabres. So there you go. But now, CFL, you got my full attention. There you go. Next week, we will have a very special guest. Her name is Millie Etherton, and she has a book coming out that I've read it. And even it brought a tear to my eye. It's called The Lie That Named Me. Great person. And after you read the book, you wonder, how in the hell could you be great? And that's what we're going to talk about next week. Until next week, guys, I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.